Welcome to the Q&A Cafe. Here we are enjoying our last interview of 2016, and I figured the only way to end this year was with some humor and some fashion and some style and some pop culture. So we have Tom and Lorenzo with us. They have come here from Philadelphia. They are acclaimed bloggers and podcasters. What is it? I read that in 2013, if this was an accurate number, you had 9 million page views
a month.
What is it now then?
It's roughly the same.
No, I
would love to say, it's 30 million.
Well, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
I'll be honest. It's roughly 9 to 10 million per month.
Well, so that's why you're watching at home on YouTube, and welcome here to the audience at the Georgetown Club. I know there's a lot of super fans here, and that's why I was so grateful when you put it on your website.
We wanted to see
and
our
your
kittens.
podcast.
Yes.
I must say, I take a walk each Saturday and listen to your podcast, and there I am taking my walk, and anybody who looked at me would see me going. Because they mentioned my name. I was like, oh no, I'm done. No, I was hugely flattered, but it was also good business.
Well, we're hugely flattered to be invited here. Are you kidding me?
So,
love DC so much.
I know some of the rules, but I'm going to break them.
Okay.
And but I'm just trying to decide whether we should start with politics and Washington style, or maybe do a moment of your story. Why don't we do a moment of your story? And then get into the.
Okay, we'll do it in interpretive dance this time. We have told this story so many times, but I don't mind telling it.
Well, I
Do you want me
believe
to?
it starts in the late 1990s, right?
Yes.
And the two of you. Let's take you back to the late.
A beautiful young man was eyeing me up in the gym for 2 weeks, and neither one of us had the.
In Philadelphia.
Yes, in Philadelphia.
Neither one of us had the. I don't know, gumption to go up to the other one.
Shy boys.
We were shy boys. I don't even know what we were thinking. But anyway,
you were thinking, gee, I want to meet
finally
him.
I had it with the sort of the eyeing across the room. So I went up to him, and my very first words to him, he was working the triceps machine, and I said, can I work in with you? And I've been working in with him for 10 years.
There you go. And Lorenzo Marquez, you were in Philadelphia because you were doing what?
I was working at Penn. I was a professor at Penn for a long time. Teaching business and culture in Latin America. So I got tired of that, so I decided, well, why not do something else? I mean, I'm actually trained as a classic musician. I play the violin and the harpsichord. So I've been doing so many different things. I know. I've been doing so many different things. I just get tired of things, and then I move on to something else. So.
But with an enduring love of style, fashion, and shopping.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with fashion. I got that from my mom, and she
who was here in the room with us.
Here with us, and she's visiting. She was always obsessed with fashion, and I developed this taste for fashion, and I just love fashion more than a lot of things.
That's wonderful. And Tom Fitzgerald, you were in Philadelphia working in advertising?
Working in advertising.
Yes.
I lived in Philadelphia all my life. I had a film degree, a film school degree.
That's right.
Spent a year in California hating it, and ran back home.
And you worked on Philadelphia, though. You did work.
Yes. Wow.
And I was
That's
I
good.
don't remember exactly what it was, but there was an interesting reason why you didn't want to work in film. You had that option.
I don't want to offend anyone here who works in film, but, and this was 20 years ago, but when I was in LA, I worked on all these really low budget films, crappy, just a step up from.
That's how we learn.
I know, just a step up from softcore porn. Like it had titles like Ninja Nips in the 23rd century. That's a real thing. And so my entree into that world was kind of sleazy, and I was meeting a lot of sleazy people. We did a film about a ballerina by day, stripper by night. And so we had to shoot scenes on a set in a soundstage. They built a strip club, and they brought in all these strippers from Texas. I can't believe I'm telling this story. They brought in all these strippers from Texas because the producer of the film used to run a strip joint in Texas. So I was an assistant director on this thing, and I had to go get the girls to sign waivers because they wanted full frontal for the camera, and the girls all had to sign waivers. And I went into their dressing room and I told them what they all needed to sign, and they were all like, F this, I'm not doing this, no freaking way. And so I had to go out to the producer and I was like, the girls aren't gonna sign. So he puts his arm around me, and I'm all like 19. And he's like, well, let me tell you what you're gonna do. And I'm thinking I'm gonna learn something, like I'm gonna learn something about the industry. He's like, in my office, in my right-hand top drawer, here's the key, it's a bag of Coke. Just put it in their dressing room, come back in an hour, they'll sign anything. I'm going home, mommy, I'm going home.
I'm done.
So,
I'm done.
Yeah.
And so you find each other.
Yes.
And you find that you've got this shared interest.
Right.
In,
which erupted with Project Runway. That's
Right,
really
right,
where
right.
it came.
and that's
how
what I
it
was going to say.
started.
So
Yeah.
you started a blog with
Right.
Project Runway called Project Run Gay.
Right.
Yes.
Well, the thing is that at the time, it's not like today that everyone is covering every TV show and everything. At the time, nobody was talking about TV shows the way they talk now.
Right.
The whole recapping culture
Right,
was
the whole
just starting
recapping
out.
thing. And so I said, and there was already 2 blogs out there talking about Project Runway, and I said, why don't we do something that is completely different, a little gay, a little funny, a little bitchy. And he said, fine, we'll do it, because
Just to shut him up, honestly, just to shut him up.
shut me up. And I said, all right, let's do it. And then we started as a blog, with blogspot.com.
And do you sit
very
like
simple.
at a partner's desk and work opposite each
hell
other?
We'd
No,
never be-
no,
We would have
God,
broken up
no.
5 years ago.
No,
if we had
no,
done
no.
that.
So how
We
does
are
it get-
literally at opposite ends of the house.
Yes,
How does it get written? One shouts from the kitchen, put this in?
Oh, yeah. We have little meetings in the
We
morning.
have a meeting in the morning where we go over everything that popped up on the photo wires that, in the last
Yeah.
12 hours. Who do we want to do? We narrow it down to, 18 posts or so, and then we go through each one. What do
then
you
we
think of
fight
this
about
one?
them.
What do you think of this one? What do you think of this one? And we come up with the hook. Like how, because you can't write, this dress is pretty, this dress is ugly. No one will read
No,
you.
you never do that.
No one
no.
will read you.
I think-
There's always got to be a hook to
Right.
each
Right.
post. We
And
are
you've
essentially
got to
saying,
explain why we hate it.
Right,
we're
right.
essentially saying the
Why
same
we
things
love it.
over and over and over again every single
If you
day.
if you go back from the to the beginning of our site, the blog, we actually had to close it. But anyway, we just have the site now, tomandlorenzo.com site. But you can see the language shifting a little bit because you learn. You learn
listening
And
to your
evolve. I
audience.
think
Yes,
that's
right.
what.
And we pay attention to what our readers say. I mean, we read every single comment, every email
Well,
we
your
get.
comments are fun too.
Right. Yes.
You know,
They're very
Well,
good.
that is a very
We
moderated
have an
comment
amazing
section.
community.
We have to
Our
weed out a lot
kittens
of
are
trolls.
absolutely fantastic. We wouldn't be here without them. I have to say
Yes.
that, and we say that all the
So
time.
keep commenting,
Love you guys.
Yes, we
But-
love everyone very much.
So you started the Tom and Lorenzo website.
Right.
Yes.
And then that became the podcast. When did the podcast start?
We have
A
got
little over a year ago.
Right, yeah. We have gotten many offers, including to have our own TV show, but we always turn everything down because we felt that that's not what we wanted to do, just
Right.
focus on the site. Finally, CBS
Radio.
started a subdivision called playit.com.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so they invited us and they said, we'd love to have you guys. And first we said no, and they insisted and said, no, you don't have to do anything, just record the podcast and we'll take care of everything. So we said, fine, we'll do it.
Did they set you up a studio?
yeah,
at home?
they sent us the equipment.
When we
Yes.
did our book tour, we did a lot of radio, and we found that
This is where you say the title of the book.
I know.
everyone wants to be. You all know the title. Everyone wants to be me or do me. Tom and Lorenzo's
right.
fabulous and opinionated guide to celebrity life and style.
And this title
the
is so
next book
funny.
is going to
Yeah.
be much shorter title.
Yes, much sure. And it's funny because every time we're interviewed and everything, and they have to read the title of the book, they
Yeah.
go, everyone wants to
Oh my
be
God, on
me
NPR,
or do me.
the guy on NPR
It's not
reading our.
exactly an NPR title. Is
Yeah,
it?
it's not an NPR title.
It's just very funny. Very funny.
And my mother, she was like, "Did you have to name it that? I really don't want to tell my friends the name of your book."
But it's so great that you have the studio set up. So, and the thing is, what I gather from listening to you is you rarely leave your house or your apartment.
God,
Yeah,
bloggers
You get up
now.
on Friday morning in your PJs
Right.
with the cats there.
Right.
And all you got to do is push a button, and then CBS does the rest.
Well, no, there's a whole recording. Thing.
Yeah, we recorded
So
it.
one
We-
of you has to produce.
yeah,
the
we-
producer.
Yet another skill.
Yes,
Yes.
another thing that we have. I mean, we send the file, but it has to be produced, and we have to think about what we're going to talk about. It has to be interesting.
Yeah, that's why I do all the live reads on the air. Well,
Yes.
first off, because I talk so fast, and I can do live reads, but also because he is so back end. He does all of the stuff that
Yeah.
is. I always say that.
We won't go there, right? We heard what he said, but
That's not what I meant. But no, but he's everything behind the scenes. He's doing all the. I always say he's the publisher of our website. He's the guy who.
But he's the producer.
Yeah,
You're
Right,
he's
right.
the producer of our
It's just the
podcast.
two of us. It's always been just the
Yeah.
two of us, and I
Yeah.
think
But that is the beauty
Yes.
of this new era of
Yes.
journalism.
Yes.
Right.
And because I was thinking about it, I'm old enough to have remembered kind of regularly watching Elsa Clench on CNN. And
yes.
that was
Yes,
kind of like what we had.
Right.
We didn't have podcasts then, we didn't even have blogs then.
Right.
And fashion journalism, I don't know really the state of where it is right now, but I find that I probably read you and listen to you more than I go to Vogue.
right.
God, I should hear that.
And that's very good.
Well, I'm not alone.
And I know I agree with you, and I think that's why we're so successful. And I don't have a problem saying that. It's just because we make sure that it's our own voice, that we're not attached to any publication, or we're not attached to any designer or company or business. We don't have to say that a dress is nice or pretty just because the designer told us so.
Or the designer's advertising
Or is
on
that
our site.
But
advertising?
you've been
on
able
that
to
side.
monetize it.
Yes.
You are.
no
This
one-
is your living, right?
Right,
You don't
right.
have
So,
other-
absolutely.
yeah.
Well, we have to. I mean, people forget what we make to pay our bills, just to run the site alone. It's a lot of money, and the
Yeah.
more readers you have, the more you pay for the site. People don't think about that. They don't know
But you
that.
also get advertisers, the
Right,
more
yes,
readers you have,
yes,
and the more
exactly.
listeners you
So
have.
that's why we'd love to have no ads at all on our
Yes,
site,
I'd
but
love
then
it.
the site would crash the next day because
Well, we
we
don't
wouldn't
want
be
that
able
to happen.
to afford it. So
But
that's how it works.
because of your popularity and the numbers of eyes and ears that you've got, it's why you have the attention of the industry.
Right,
And
right.
and you are, you always joke about how you get treated when you go to New York
Oh,
Fashion
yeah,
Week.
yeah.
But I think you get treated better
We-
than you make it sound.
No,
Oh, of course.
no. Listen,
They don't roll out a red carpet for us. We're not sitting front row at every show.
It depends on the
Yet.
about the designer. It depends it depends on the designer. Some designers understand that what we do is promoting them regardless. Even if we say we don't like a dress, the comment section will have 150 comments saying, "No, you guys are wrong. I love this dress." So they understand that.
Michael Kors' team in particular
Michael Kors,
is
for example,
very good at
Donna
You're a
Karen.
understanding.
big fan of Michael
Oh my God, I
Kors.
love
Yeah.
Michael Kors and their team, and his team. Michael Kors, Donna Karen, Oscar de la Renta. So many names are right. They love us and they understand what we do. Other designers that I don't want to mention the name.
Oh, I don't mind. We'll never get invited to Marc Jacobs. We'll
yes.
never get invited to Calvin Klein, ever.
Yeah, it's because they don't. They
designers.
Mark.
they don't understand the criticism. They don't understand that they hate to be criticized.
Well,
Yeah.
you mentioned the designers,
Right.
but how many publicists of
Oh,
celebrities
yeah.
do you hear from?
Oh my God,
Oh,
yeah.
no, not as many as
Really?
you think.
The
We hear
celebrities?
from publicists.
From their publicists.
And
Could
we
you
hear
please?
from stylists.
Yeah.
But not the celebrities.
We get
Well,
all
right,
kind.
but the
yes.
publicists are speaking
Right.
for
Yes,
them.
and we'll sometimes hear, so-and-so thought you were a little hard on her last, the
could
last
you-
time she was on your site.
Those pictures, our client, we can see her bra. Can you take them down?
Yeah,
And I was
someone
like,
did that
no.
one time. And I was like, well, maybe your client shouldn't have gone out in a see-through top, It's not my problem.
It's not my problem.
Do you ever walk anything back? Do you ever?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't
No,
think
no,
we
no.
ever have. We've
No.
taken stuff down
Yes.
because there was like a legal threat if we
Yeah,
didn't.
well, that's
That happens.
that's the world of the web.
That's
Right,
the
right.
media,
And
yeah.
You have to protect yourselves.
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah,
we
yeah.
haven't walked back an opinion or
No,
anything like that.
in terms of opinion, no. But we had people saying, "Can you take this down?" Or and we had a case where a designer actually said, "Can you take it down because she's too," and I quote him, "too fat to wear this," and we did not allow her to wear that dress or whatever. And I'm like, "No, we're not taking that
And
down."
we never mentioned who the actress was, but I'm going to mention her now.
Yeah, go ahead.
She's not super famous, but if any of you watched Sleepy Hollow, Nicole Bahari, the African American actress on that show, who nobody would ever call fat. No one would reasonably call that woman fat.
But we got an email from the designer saying, "Well, that wasn't designed for her body type," and I was like, "Well, it's staying up."
Well,
Yeah.
look what you mentioned size and color. Look what Leslie Jones went through. the
Right,
SNL
exactly.
actress.
And thank God to Kristen Siriano who,
Yeah.
helped her. And we hear that all the time. We hear that from Christina Hendricks, for example. She had a hard time finding a designer to design for her. The thing is that I'm not trying to defend the designers. I just want to explain that the thing is that these people get everything for free. And most of the time they wear some right off the runway.
It's just another ad.
But at the same time, if you're smart as a designer, you could customize something or make something for the celebrity,
Because
specifically.
not all celebrity women are model
exactly,
size.
exactly.
Is there anybody anymore who wears their own clothes? Sigourney Weaver used to be famous for it, but is there anybody anymore who dare to do the red carpet?
I wouldn't wear my own clothes if I got clothes for free all the
not
time.
Not anyone, quote unquote, A-list.
Yeah, it's just not done.
No.
No, it's just not done.
No, and it's tough because we do get emails all the time offering us stuff, including bras, believe it or not. And I'm like, do you read our site?
Yeah, but we hear you're hot.
I know. We got an email like, we have this new line of bra. Would you like to try? I'm like, sure, why not? But clearly this person doesn't read our site. But my point is that we do get a lot of stuff for free, and we always have to turn it down. We say no, because then you have to tweet about it, Instagram about it, and love the product all the time. And if we don't love the product, that's why our sponsors, even our sponsors on the podcast, they say, you guys are so great because if we say we mention any product on our podcast, we really love the product.
Yeah. We tried the product. Down a sponsor last week.
Yes.
But we didn't think was a good fit for us, and probably would have been lucrative for us. But it was a cosmetic surgeon.
Absolutely
we both looked at each other and like, we're actually writing a book right now telling women that you can be stylish at any age, size, or whatever.
That's sticking needles in your face.
Yeah, our whole philosophy of style is not based on conformity and every woman looking. So I was like, I can't read. So call Dr. So-and-so to get your free content. I couldn't do it.
So we turned that down.
Well, this is where I'm going to ask you to break the rules now because, when we start, it's interesting. We were going to do this back in the spring or something, and then for whatever reason I said, no, let's postpone it. Not knowing that this would end up being as provocative a time as it's turned out to be. And then I said, well, you have to come and we'll talk about First Lady style. And then the First Lady to be is going to be Melania Trump. And then I'm listening to your podcast and you said...
we're not covering it.
You are not going to cover her, but you said you would cover her. Okay, but you said you would. We're going to break that rule right here. This will be the one and only time.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
It's a thing. She's a figure. She wears fashion. We're not going to black her out or anything, but we're just not going to do it on our own site.
Well, but that's an interesting question I want to ask you from listening to some of the things you said. Does she wear fashion? Is she fashion or glamour? Is she style or fashion? What is she? What's the difference?
No.
So what is she?
She wears white sheath dresses and neutral pumps over and over again. And that's all she does.
Well, first of all, she's a model, and I hate to say this, she was a model.
She relies on her body to
do
all the work.
Models
and
usually don't know how to dress. They're told how to dress. People have this misconception that, oh, you're a model, you know how to dress. No, they're told what to dress. They're professional who dress, who get dressed. So she's just a model, and I think. She always wore very minimalistic designers who had a very minimalistic aesthetic, like Roxanda, like Rosie Assoulin, that kind of designer. So it's very simple, very basic, solid colors. And then she does something like when she wore Gucci, the kitty cat bow. The kitty cat bow, top.
Saint Laurent, Givenchy, she had that bow a long time ago, and I don't remember it being called that.
In the 40s, it was called a pussycat bow.
Okay, well, there you go. It's a bow.
Because in the 40s, pussycat didn't make people laugh.
So the other thing she does it's a new term for me at least, is the shoulder robe. That she's got the thing with the...
Oh, yeah.
So what's that about?
I think that's a very... what the hell, I'll just be blunt. I think the Trump couple, the two of them, have a very... they attempt to come off very regal in the way they carry themselves. They attempt to come off more like royalty than politicos. So that has a very
So they do it with their wardrobe.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you put the coat on your shoulders, and you don't deem to put your arms in the sleeve, that's more royal.
That's more,
I think
because
so.
You don't have to. I mean,
you freeze to death. But
yes, but you also.
But you have cars
people
everywhere.
that I don't have to raise my hand. I don't have to reach. I don't have to bend over. I'm wealthy. I'm powerful. These things are done for me. That's what that says.
That is very interesting. Well, you both have come to love Washington.
Oh my
yes,
God, yes,
because
yes,
Washington
yes.
has loved us back.
Yes.
Well, but this was a turn of opinion for you because you didn't love Washington.
Oh my God, you know everything
But now
about
you
us.
do. So knowing what you know about
We said
Washington,
going into this, we were like, she's a real
She-
journalist. We
she's
gotta watch
got-
what we're doing.
I listen to you.
Well, thank you.
But knowing what you know about Washington,
Right.
and being a fan of the style of Michelle Obama and Hillary Clinton, how do you see Melania adapting to what's expected of her as a first
I don't
lady?
think she's going to adapt.
I don't think she's going to.
I don't think she's going to
She's
adapt.
going to live in the White House. Why would she change her style?
I think she's going to push her own things, her own
Yeah.
aesthetic. I mean, she can't even move to a new house. So I think she's just going to push whatever she thinks is right for her. And I think because she was a model and because there's so much criticism on if she intelligent, she's not intelligent, she's just a model. All that type of, criticism. I think she's going to try very hard to be just very, very safe. I think her
Really?
choices are going to be
do.
safe.
I also think when we talk about her this way, we're probably making her sound far more active in this decision making than I suspect she is.
You don't think she makes these decisions?
I don't think she's going to be allowed to make them on her own going forward.
Who do you think will be making them?
Well, he's got a team of people around him that
Yes,
are very
yes.
tightly controlling
Because Michelle Obama made
She
her own
did her
decision.
own
I still think that the whole,
Here's the thing with
kitty
Michelle
cat
Obama, and
shirt, top, it was somebody's decision. There's no way
She
that,
came out the night that he won in a white Ralph Lauren jumpsuit.
Yes, I
Hillary
mean,
Clinton
come
wore
on.
white Ralph Lauren pantsuit
Yes,
the night she
I mean,
accepted the
So you're
nomination.
saying that,
there's a little knife twisting
that like a
going there.
model, she walks into a room and there's a team that's
Someone's in there.
Yes.
It's been decided.
Put
this
her in
is
the
what
pussy
Yes.
bow blouse, put her in the white Ralph Lauren.
And do you think it's decided by him, or
I don't know
think
if by
no, I
him,
don't
but
think so.
by
Yeah.
a team.
I don't think Donald
yeah.
Trump knew what a pussy bow blouse was prior to a month ago.
He tried to grab the top, but anyway.
But one thing we know about first ladies in fashion, and this is historical, is that it does affect the way people dress.
Right.
It may take it. With some, it happens faster, like Nancy Reagan, Jackie Kennedy, Michelle Obama. And with others, it takes a little more time, and that it might not be that we wear what they wear, but it sets a tone.
Right. We
I don't
had
know
this.
that I agree with that.
You can disagree.
Because,
Okay.
all right, let's walk this backwards. Who did Laura Bush influence with her style? For real.
It was an era of conservatism.
Who did Barb? I could see
That's what I'm
Barbara
saying
Bush.
is that-
Right.
But like, say, Rosalind Carter. Maybe Pat Nixon. But
Remember, that's when her husband was having fireside chats in a sweater, so there was and
you feel that
a tone
women
of
were-
austerity.
I guess you're
and
right,
That,
yeah.
And that it was almost anti-fashion.
Right.
Well, yeah,
So,
that
so
was very much of the
what
time.
happened with Nancy Reagan is it put everybody in Adolfo or Adolfo knockoffs, which were
Right.
Chanel
Right.
knockoffs. So somehow, if there is fashion, it
Right.
does have an impact.
No, I do
Right.
agree. I mean, everything Michelle Obama wore sold out immediately. So I do understand
She
what
made
you're
the
saying. I do
sleeveless
agree
sheath
with you.
dress a classic.
So
Especially when she
right,
wore,
right.
stuff we can all walk into.
Right,
Jake
exactly,
Gyllenhaal.
exactly. The thing with Michelle Obama is that she is such an intelligent woman, and she has so much style that alone, it doesn't matter what you wear,
Do you think she brought it or she found it?
I think she found it.
She found
I
it.
think she
Yes.
took, if you look at her, the first couple of years in the White House, she was making a lot,
lot of mistakes? Yes.
And just as an aside to the Melania Trump question, we spent the first several years criticizing those mistakes.
Right,
We are
right.
not going to be able to do that with Melania Trump without risking our business.
Right.
Seriously.
Well, this
Seriously.
is something I wanted to ask
the hordes
you.
that
Right,
will come
right.
down on us
Well,
if we criticize our
there's
headline.
only one in particular I want to ask you about, because I wondered if your decision to not cover Melania Trump is that you just don't want him coming after you.
It's not just that. It's just that.
But
This
you're
is a
nodding your
business. This
head.
is a
It is a
small
business.
business.
No, it's not
I am
just that.
nodding my head.
It's-
We might not be on the same page on this.
No, but
Do you
not
think
just-
Donald Trump would come after you for
I don't know if
I
he'll
think
come
he would.
after us,
Yeah, I
but-
think he would. I think he would if we made fun of his wife.
Okay.
Yeah, he
Well,
would. And I'm not saying this out of fear of Donald Trump or anything like that.
Well, then if not,
But it's, well, we are two gay men. Look at the Comet ping pong thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And all of that is coming out of the fact that the owner's gay. You can't tell me that's not because he's gay. Well, it's not that I fear him. I fear his hordes. I fear the followers. They go after people that are heretics, and they love her. She is their queen right now. So if we said she was tacky, if we said that hem was too short, or whatever.
The thing is that every time we talk about a first lady, no matter who, we have to spend the next 24 hours controlling monitoring the comment section.
Michelle Obama,
so that your
we have
site
spent
doesn't
8
crash.
years
Yeah, it doesn't crash,
moderating
and the nasty
ugly
comments that we get.
about
Yes,
Michelle
yeah,
Obama
yeah, yeah.
out of our comment section.
So every time we posted about Michelle Obama, one of us had to be reading every comment and then deleting immediately, deleting every comment. I'm sure the same thing is going to happen, if we talk about Melania Trump. But the thing with Melania is not just that. I don't want to talk about her.
Yeah, I mean, at the heart of it all, we just don't want to.
I don't want to talk about her.
We don't want to legitimize that. We don't want to give them cultural cachet that we don't feel they've earned.
The reason why we talked about Michelle Obama so much, and even if Hillary Clinton had won, there was only so much we were going to post on our site about her because
we weren't going to post about her.
Right. Do you think you're reflecting in any way, or what do you think of the designers who have come out and publicly said that nobody should dress her?
I think they're a little naive.
I think they're a little naive.
I mean, is that part of the same thing that they?
I guess you could say we're doing the same, but we're not advocating that nobody else should cover her. We are making a personal decision.
Again, goes back to what we said before. There's a difference. If they have a product out there, because I know that Melania Trump, for example, what she wore, allegedly, she bought on a site online.
Yeah.
So if that's true, how are the designers going to control that?
They're going to say, came out and said that. She was
don't,
like, it's a good
don't buy
idea,
my product. Don't buy my. You can't purchase
whatever
I
she
produce.
wants.
Now, I think what they're saying is that they're not going to customize pieces for her.
The way they would for a first lady.
Yeah, in that case, it's their choice. Why not?
I just think that will.
Would you go so far as to call it a fashion boycott of the First Lady?
I don't think it's going to go that far because people in
there
fashion,
they
love money and they love power.
And a dress does go to the Smithsonian for
exactly.
history.
So that's just, I admire the ones who are standing up, but in the long run, I think most of them are. Like Michael Kors hasn't said anything yet, and I'm like, he's not going to say anything. He'll dress her.
So I'm going to drop Melania, but there's one other Trump I want to ask you about. That's him. Man style.
Oh, God.
That red tie.
Well, there is a rule that your tie should not be longer than your arm.
I know.
But his tie.
And his
it's
tie
supposed to
is
graze the top of your crotch, actually. That is where a man's tie is supposed to fall.
but his is an extension of his tongue, actually.
It's a tongue. Yeah.
It's just an extension of his tongue and his big mouth.
Trump.
Yeah.
And his gigantically oversized suits.
Yes.
Well, so do you think he's well tailored? Do you think
not
he's got
absolutely not.
Does he have a look?
His suits are so bad, so badly fitted that I shouldn't say this on camera, but I will. His suits are so badly fitted that he comes off like someone who has hypersensitivity or hyperstimulation issues.
Here we go.
Where they wear the really oversized clothes because they can't stand binding clothes. They're so large on him, his suits. They're like comically large. So that's my little psychoanalysis there.
And the baseball cap, do you think he should lose that once he goes
Why? Because what's underneath? The hair is so pretty underneath it?
So maybe the hat is a good choice.
Maybe he should keep it up there.
Okay, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to give you a breath mint. There are two areas where you got a lot of notoriety on the web. Well, we've talked about Project Runway and your coverage of that. I think a lot of others of us found you when you were writing about Mad Men.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And well, you do in general. And for those who may not know what Tom and Lorenzo do with television shows, and which I find fascinating, there's the recap of what happened, and then there's the other recap of what story the fashion told us.
Right.
And again, it started because we get bored very easily, and I said, let's just not do recap. Everybody does it. Let's find a way to come up, let's come up with something new and different. And I said, why don't we do the costumes? And then we picked one. We
were doing top 10 lists.
Right.
Top 10 Joan Holloway looks, top 10 Betty Draper looks. And then I was like, well, we should do Peggy Olson too. And then it turned into like top 20. And then we were like, well, why don't we just
do it?
Well, first off, we examined every character in the first 3 seasons. We did these character-based posts on all of the females and some of the men, I think. And then when season 4 started, we just started doing episodically, recapping through the costumes.
And it took off immediately. I mean, people were like, and then we started getting emails from the costume designer, Janie
Costume
Bryant.
designers love us.
Did you know about her at the start, or did you find her going into it?
We found her, and she heard about us, and I'm sure she started hearing about us at this point.
Yeah. People bother her when she's out.
I know, people bother her all the time.
Local trivia,
Tom and Lorenzo said,
she did the uniforms for the Watergate,
Watergate
Hotel.
We interviewed her. I mean, and she is brilliant, and she thanked us many times, because I think the thing about costume designing is that a lot of people watch TV, as they should. They just watch a show. They never pay attention to what people are wearing. They don't understand that there's a whole team, there's a whole production going on. Deciding what these characters are going to wear to tell a story.
Yeah, my time, even on low-budget films, but working in the film industry, and I did work on indie films that I'm not embarrassed to have on my CV, but it taught me that it taught me something that I kind of innately knew, but then I realized most people don't, which is that in a filmed text, there are no mistakes, nothing's haphazard, everything is deliberate and thought out, everything. Right. From the frame, the lighting, the dialogue, the costume, the sound, the ambient sound, everything is thought of. And these individual departments all get opportunities to be creative within the confines of what the director is telling them to do. Exactly.
Just like the actors.
And the art director and the costume designer are two of the people that get to be the most creative. And they are the ones. I wish I could write all day about art direction, but because we're fashion, we tend to stick with fashion.
But it was so interesting, because once you started schooling on how to look at the way they were dressed in Mad Men, I could sometimes do it all on my own before I even met you.
We heard that a lot. In fact, the last season of Mad Men, it actually got a little tough to write about, because we were like, well, here's this theme that we've written about.
We were all as good at you at doing it.
Yeah,
but it was wonderful to get emails from Janie Bryant say, yes, you guys nailed it.
You got it,
yeah. So talk about what happened when you analyzed Bob Benson.
Oh, yes.
That is the most popular post on our site by far. It's also the longest. I believe it's 8,000 words.
And again, if people don't know who Bob Benson is, he's a character who came in like in the third season, sort of midway through the whole arc of Mad Men, as a new young staffer in the advertising agency office, and he had a look.
Right.
He had a look we hadn't seen before.
Right.
At least not on Mad Men.
No, he had this very preppy post-college look to him.
No cargo shorts for him.
No. Oh, yeah, it's little whale shorts. But what prompted that post, which ultimately, I mean, it's our most talked about post, but we did get it wrong with Bob Benson. We didn't get it 100% right in our prediction. Because here's what happened.
You said he was gay.
That part we got right. There was so much written about Mad Men at the time, and so much theorizing about the show. Do you remember when everyone thought that his wife was going to get killed by Charles Manson? Like, that's not going to happen.
Because she was wearing
a T-shirt, exactly.
All that.
So there was all this theorizing and everything, and I felt like, as in everything, the majority of people in that field are going to be not gay, except for maybe fashion design and a few other things. So you're reading all these TV reviews from straight people, and that's fine. But I felt like they were missing cues, like seriously missing cues, because what's with this guy? He's really strange. Why is he acting so strange? And the two of us are like, he's gay. He's gay. Right. I mean, once you figure that out, it doesn't seem so strange anymore.
Even the creator of the show, he kept telling everyone, no, he might be gay. He's not gay. No,
but they were very good about. Right. We wrote this, that Bob Benson was in many ways a response to the original Sal character who was in the first couple episodes. Brian Batt did a lovely job, but that character was badly thought out, because they worked very hard to signal his gayness to a 21st century
and then
audience
they just dropped
in a way that was it was too overt.
Right.
I pardon me if I go back to Washington again for a second, because you use that word cues and fashion. And I think that's so interesting, because when I think of fashion on Capitol Hill, fashion at the White House, fashion on K Street, success is having the absence of cues. Right? In Washington, don't we have to not let our fashion say anything?
Too much about you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That-
is.
Tell me if I'm.
No, I think
no,
you're right. We
you're
were actually
absolutely
talking
right.
about
Yes,
we were getting
we
dressed
went
this
out,
morning.
yeah.
And we were like, "That's a little New York. You should probably make it a little
No,
more."
don't dress
You
for
should make it a little more
Washington.
DC.
What would that?
I mean, like skinny jeans and cuffed. Then we would take the jackets off. No,
Oh,
that's
please.
Fashion Week. But we were like, let's do straight leg pants today.
Oh my God.
DC does have great style. DC has very good style, but it is conformist. Whereas, say, New York is quite the opposite of that. It's
Right,
expecting
right,
you
right, right.
to. In
Can
New
you
York,
think of
it's
any-
all about gaining attention. The people who dress well in New York dress that way to gain attention.
Of course.
And you put it very well. The people in DC who dress,
Strategically.
Right.
strategically
To
are
no
doing it
cues.
to sort of not
Right.
to remove attention from themselves, but to not make too much of a statement either way. To be neutral in their fashion.
So, from watching TV news, I assume you watch what goes on here because I know you're very political. Who do you see who you think looks good or has style, apart from Barack and Michelle Obama? Is there anybody that's
In politics?
Yeah, I know. I'm not going to push hard if it doesn't come right.
I can't think of anybody.
Okay, well then I'll bring
I'm
somebody
sorry.
up for a reason that I thought was very interesting, and I'm not going to relive the election. But one of the things I found so interesting during the campaign was when I learned that Ralph Lauren was dressing Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
And I wondered what that was about. Do you have any backstory?
I know that we know that Anna Wintour was styling her
Yeah.
during her campaign.
And they have a great relationship. And I think it was.
But this
I don't
was
know.
very different from the 08
Right,
campaign,
right,
where
right,
her
right.
clothing was kind of all over the place.
Well, and I think that was Anna Wintour.
yeah,
And I
I
also
think
think
that-
that was the fact that Hillary Clinton, if you look at her in 08 and you looked at her in 16, she did what every woman in her age group does. Her body changed in that period.
Tell me about it.
So her
we
needs
all
changed.
know.
Like
Yeah.
in 08, she was wearing those
Yeah.
all three buttons done, and it was all. And
Right.
she can't dress like that anymore. So everyone made fun of her and said that she looks like a supreme galactic leader with these long mal
right.
coats. But I actually thought that suited her quite well. I do think the Ralph Lauren suit was the best thing she's
Oh,
ever
it was
worn,
phenomenal.
by
She looked
far.
amazing.
The
So did you
yellowing on that
think she
suit.
was an unusual choice? Because
It was an unusual
Because to
choice.
look at it, I never thought that was Ralph Lauren until I heard it was
Right,
Ralph
right.
Lauren.
I
It
felt
had a
the same
very
way, yes,
chic a cut to the jacket where the lapels were very, very broad and the
Yeah.
neckline was like this. And on some women that might not work. It might make them look really busty or it might make their soul. But with Hillary, it like opened up and it brought all the focus on her face. The
Yeah.
white was very softening for her, while at the same time being very powerful on that stage.
Yeah.
We said this in the podcast when we talked about it. Aside from the suffragette signaling that she was
Right.
doing with the white, she was also making a statement that no man can come out here in a white suit and accept this nomination. He'd look like an idiot. That's
Colonel Sanders.
Exactly.
Right.
I am a woman. I can do this because I'm a woman. If she had walked out in a pinstripe gray suit, that would have been a mistake.
What did you think when you saw the purple matchy when she gave her speech to after she lost
Well,
the
first of
election?
all, it was a beautiful speech.
watch the speech, actually.
I watched it and then
I still haven't watched it.
Yeah, I
But
watched
this
it. and
was Hillary
but
wearing
I've seen it.
lapels
It's
in purple
beautiful.
and Bill
right.
Clinton in a purple
It was just
tie.
beautiful because she looked so powerful and at the same time so humble.
Sober. Yeah.
And I thought that was just beautiful the way and you couldn't stop looking at the jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess it was nice that Bill wore the purple tie, I guess, and I guess he was showing solidarity with her, but I would have rather she just stood there and made the statement on her own. Not that fine, whatever. I mean, it was very touching that he was behind her dressed to match. But I found that suit really fascinating because I don't think I've ever seen her wear black in public, except for
Yeah.
maybe at state funerals.
Yeah.
So it was...
She always
And those
goes for
decisions
colors,
are not
yes.
made at the last second.
No.
So she had a black
Absolutely,
suit
right.
put aside for her
I'm sure
concession.
Ralph Lauren had a whole wardrobe
Yes,
planned
Right.
yes,
for
yes.
now. But
I'm sure he did.
as we only have like a few minutes left, but I wanted to talk to you also about something just about your personal lives. And one of the things I find so refreshing and interesting about your podcast and your way with each other is that we are in a changing society. I'm older than you are, but you're of an age where we've all been through the transition from the pre-marital rights era to now where it's commonplace and hopefully going to stay that way. And what's so interesting is the natural way you two talk about being gay, being gay men who are married, living a gay life. You use words you're not afraid of using. I mean, you can call a person a queen. I don't know if I can, but I'm just saying that you have this. It's like I think of you as a real tutorial for people and how to adapt to our era.
But it is getting complicated. I mean, even I have to watch what I say now.
Yes, but we did make.
But you know what you can say about who you are.
No, yes, and we made a decision very early on. I mean, that's why the site was named Project Run Gay all the way back in the day, was that it was always going to be done with a gay voice. It was always going to be done
that's who we
through
are.
a gay aesthetic, through a gay perspective. And when we started doing red carpet and fashion, that became even more important because most of the bloggers, style and fashion bloggers out there, red carpet, they're all women.
Yeah.
The big, like the FUD girls are, I wouldn't even call them our competitors. They're our girlfriends, our sisters.
Absolutely
we love them. But we're working the same block, and we knew that their strength as commenters on fashion was that they could talk about it woman to woman.
Right.
They can talk about things like I will always, and I brought this up to Heather and Jessica. Whenever they talk about things like boob sweat and stuff like that, well, they'll look at a woman on a red carpet and mention, I'd be sweating in that. And I'm like, I would never think that. I've never worn a halter top in 90-degree weather, so I wouldn't know. So for us, it was always, let's make it gay, and let's make it unapologetically gay. Like, we can't hide behind it. We can't be coy about it. We are who we are.
But you use the language of a gay marriage, and it shows people who might not know how to be inside that, how it is.
Absolutely.
And that how you can talk. I mean, I just find it such a refreshing use.
We talk like every gay couple I know, gay male couple I know.
You talk like every couple.
Right.
But it's his and his and him and him.
Yeah.
And I'm fortunate to have a number of friends who are gay couples, and it's been fun to come along with them and to watch how they've integrated into our society.
Right.
And it is an integration into society.
Right.
I mean, it is an adaptation.
It is.
No.
And you even make it okay to talk about ads of men's underwear and to recommend why you think people should look at it.
I know, why not?
He can say
why
that.
Not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Go to their website, check out.
Yes, because they are cute.
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
What else am I going to say?
This is how we talk. This is, maybe we're shallow, I don't know, but this is how Lorenzo and I talk.
And you're also not afraid of a stereotype, which I think is also
A gay stereotype.
A gay stereotype.
Well, again, this is probably part and parcel with our age.
Right, exactly.
If we were 22-year-old gay male bloggers, we would probably be a
Not
little
the
more
same.
circumspect about it,
And
a
what,
little more.
And what do you think of that? What would you say to younger gay men? Don't worry about that.
I don't think it's my place to tell younger gay men how they're supposed to act.
All right.
They grew up in a different world than I did. So you figure it out. I'm happy to
We don't
watch
want
you figure
everybody
it
to
out.
become straight.
No.
I know. And those boys, I think, will figure that out.
Right. I think
We're in a
it's
transition
evolving,
period.
and I think they're free and should be free to do and talk however they want to. But I think they should never forget that they are where they are
because other men and women
because
fought for
many,
them.
many, many gay people, many decades,
Marched and got beaten up
fought,
and-
got beaten up, and all kinds of stuff.
Chain themselves to hospital
Right, so that they
fences
could
and-
be where they are.
Right.
So as long as they don't forget that, I think call yourself whatever you want to.
Yeah.
If you don't want to call yourself gay anymore, that's fine by me. But
Just promise me you'll walk down the street holding your boyfriend's
Right,
hand,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
you won't hide it from your parents.
Yeah.
That's all I care about.
In our last minute or two, because we did Mad Men, but let's jump up into the present tense of TV. What are you watching? What are you
oh
loving?
my God,
Good behavior.
You only
on
have a couple
TNT.
minutes.
I'm obsessed with Good Behavior with Michelle Dockery on TNT. It's a phenomenal show. It's if you have watched Downton Abbey, it's a completely different Michelle
She's like
Dockery.
this meth addict
completely
from
different.
North Carolina.
Yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah. She
yes.
calls herself the C word in
Yes.
the first episode.
And the funny thing is, I was watching the first episode, and I went to high school in North Carolina, and in Statesville, North Carolina. So I'm watching the first episode, and she's like at a bar, waiting on people, and then it at the bottom says Statesville, North Carolina. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch this. And then it's a fantastic show. It's a
And
fantastic
you're
show.
loving The Crown, right?
I was
The
gonna say,
Crown,
mine
yes,
is- I'm
yes.
Stop hitting my mic. I'm sorry.
The Crown is
The
fantastic.
Crown I'm obsessed with.
Yes.
Which you can get on Netflix.
Starting on
so-
November 9th,
yeah.
I started obsessively watching The Crown instead of watching the news. I used it as my escape from everything.
And who has better fashion, The Crown or Downton Abbey?
Downton
Abbey,
Okay.
by far.
We're talking
yes.
about Queen
Oh
Elizabeth.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Okay,
so
all right,
no
all right.
fashionista there.
You said something in your podcast that you seemed to want to quickly walk back, but I wondered if you leaked some interesting information that the next, I love Unreal, the
Oh,
show
yeah,
that
yeah,
spoofs
yeah. Love that
The
show.
Bachelor,
Love that show.
The
Right.
Bachelorette. Was it you who said that you'd heard that they're
You
going to
said.
do the next Unreal with a
With
male
yeah.
contestant?
And,
You heard that.
Yes,
I
I,
didn't hear
heard that. It looks like they're doing it, and I think it's a fantastic idea.
That's a great idea.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't wait
It
to
is a
watch
great
it.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay, so and then Westworld. Did you watch
Yes,
that?
love it, love it.
It's flawed,
It's
but I really
flawed.
like it.
But
It's
was the
flawed.
clothing flawed?
No,
no.
the
I
clothing's
didn't think
fine.
it was Western enough.
No, it
Actually, I
wasn't.
didn't think it
But
was.
I think that's the point.
No, I didn't. I felt that was the one mistake they made in the art direction of
Right.
Westworld is that if you forget about it, you might think you're watching a period piece, and you shouldn't think that. You should think that this is a sex and violence theme park for modern people.
Right, so I think that was the point of the
I think the women
costumes,
would
yes.
more than likely be more steampunk than true to the. I think it would all be
Right.
boobs and lots of makeup on them. They wouldn't look like a madam in 1860.
Yeah.
They'd look like a stripper in 2016. I think that would be more bizarre if the
Right.
world looked a little less like a John Wayne movie and a little more like, some twisted theme
Yeah.
park.
Well, thank you for coming to Washington.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
having
Thank you for doing the Q&A Cafe.
Thank you.
I have it's because it's the holiday
wow.
season. I have a little book for
Oh
you.
my God,
I've had
great.
this book since 1985.
Oh,
It is
phenomenal.
all these people at
Oh, awesome.
And I've as long as I've been listening to your podcast, I thought how much I'd love to give this book to you.
Oh, you're
So
so
happy
sweet.
holidays,
Thank
dudes.
you so much. Thank
you.
you.
And
Thank you
thanks
so
for
much.
having
Queens
us.
dudes. You're dudes
Oh,
too,
We're
aren't you?
dudes. We're
Thank
queenly
you.
dudes.
Thank you, everybody. Have a very happy holiday season and a happy new year. And join us in 2017 as well. Bye. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.